Welcome to the Classroom Hip Hop 101 with Dr. Blizzy. In this episode, we speak to hip hop legend, Wise and Intelligent from Poor Righteous Teacher. He's also an educator, a social activist, and a historian. Enjoy the show. Teaching reading uniquely. To reverse underperformance, true school is here. Now let's be clear. Our impact will be enormous. To the teachers across this nation, in eager anticipation, a sound from the streets that's so unique, it'll transform education.
True, yeah, like true, yeah. Prepare yourself for more than just a hip-hop trend. Here to criticize and analyze through hip-hop lens. Prisons claiming our sons, use our daughters for fun. Pen is stronger than swords, so these books are stronger than guns. Breaking the pipeline, making their light shine. No more believing in all of these white lies. Dr. Shango Blake speaks, better tune to the station. This podcast will outlast all of your tribulations. This principle got principles, that's why y'all hating. Dr. Blizzy's vibrations felt across the nation. Recruiting the youth, only teaching the truth. Cause the future is bright and our kids are the proof. So if you wanna be you, then march to these drums. Welcome to the classroom, Hip Hop 101. Dr. Blake speaks, the lesson is begun. Welcome to the classroom, Hip Hop 101.
Watch this. New York City prepares to receive students back to school. Check out this throwback conversation that I had with my super producer, Half Pint, aka Cassandra Jackson, about the lack of inclusiveness when it comes to parental and community voice.
Disconnected, disenfranchised, and we don't have a voice, especially during this pandemic, and what's best for our young people. When our parents' voice is silenced, it becomes violence because they're not being serviced the way that they need, and they become complicit in the criminal enterprise, like I like to say, because we're not being addressed. Our needs are not being addressed. And the only time that people hear us is during election time, which is a very small window for them to do what's necessary for our young people or our people, and then they go back to business as usual. So having this rally was important to make sure that they understand that we're not okay with the status quo. We're going to challenge it. We're going to stand up. We're going to hold accountable those people who are supposed to be looking out of our best interests.
I'm telling you, I looked at it. Those parents were organized. They were serious. They had something to say. And I think it was like one resounding message, and that was, we want our schools to be safe. We want our children to be safe. And we want to be included in the process.
Yes.
Stop with your lip service. Stop telling us everything is going so well. I remember, earlier this summer, Mayor de Blasio put out this survey where he said 74% of the parents returning to school. And it was giving this impression as if like that meant everybody was cool with going to school. But what they're not telling you is that number is really also very close to the 63% of the parents who have no choice. If you have to make a decision between, do I put food on the table, do I make sure that the light bills are paid,
right,
or do I take my child and put them at school and put their health at risk? You're giving parents like really no choice at all. And it's really what you said, it's violent policies, right, that are not inclusive of parents, because had they included parents would have told them, well, look, if I put my child in school, how do I know they're going to be safe? Right. I can't go fully remote because I got to work. We will return with Wise Intelligent after this commercial break. Hi, I'm Dr. Blake, CEO of True SK Consultants. True SK Consultants, the True stands for Teaching, Reading Uniquely to Reverse Underperformance, and the SK stands for School. So we're not old school, we're not new school, but we're true school. We are an innovative company focused on whole school reform. And today I'd like to introduce you to my corporate partners who focus on parent and student engagement.
Hi, I'm Savannah Banana. I'm an entrepreneur. I am 8 years old. I am a fashion designer, and I am in 2nd grade. The company I own is Savannah Banana Clothing. I am partnered up with True SK Consultants to show kids how cool it is to be a business owner.
Hi, I'm Brazil Dow and I'm an entrepreneur. Hi, I'm Princess Dow and I'm an entrepreneur.
We are the Dow twins.
We are 8 years old in the 2nd grade.
We act, we model, we have a store online, we write children's books, and we co-develop a learning app that helps kids with spelling words and sight words.
But what we are most known for is our kid-friendly brand of water called Water to Kids that we curated to get kids healthy with hydration.
We partnered with True SK Consultants to teach kids the importance of healthy habits
and how to become entrepreneurs.
Now I'd like to introduce you to the parents of my partners.
Hi, I'm Melina Dow. I'm the mommy of the Dow twins. Myself and my young entrepreneurs have partnered with True SK Consultants and Dr. Blake to share all of the information that we've learned on our journey. We want to help parents and their children learn new methods of teaching kids healthy habits and entrepreneurship.
Hello everyone, my name is Sandra Jordanay and I'm the mother of Chloe D. She is the CEO of Chloe D Speaks, and we're both partners of True SK Consultants. This venture is very important to me because Chloe, when she started reading, she wasn't interested in reading or writing, and I found a way to have her improve her reading and writing skills through blogging. And through the blogging, we've created the company Chloe D Speaks. And I think that the model that I use to help Chloe become a better writer, a better reader, and a better interviewer was through the blogging aspect. And so I'm happy to be with True SK Consultants to help teach parents how to get their children involved in improving whatever skills they need to improve along with entrepreneurship.
Hi, my name is Jessica Smith. I'm the proud mother of Savannah Banana. I have partnered with True SK Consultants to show parents how cool it would be to teach their children how to own and operate their very own business. My intentions are to show parents the step-by-step process on how to begin a business for their child.
Welcome back to the Classroom Hip Hop 101 with Dr. Blizzy. We got DJ Cool KG on the set. DJ Cool KG, let's go.
Word up, this your boy Del G, and you are now rocking to the sounds of DJ Cool KG.
Come, if you got a real love for me,
Kinda gets funky, go ahead.
stay away. If you got games and tricks for me, I want a man that means everything he say, and not a boy full of play, pulling rabbits out your hat every day. Ooh, baby, I'm scared of you. I don't believe in magic. I believe in
I never get tired of hearing that DJ Cool KG mix. Brother, you are always on point. I'm telling you. Well, like I said before, it is an honor for me to have the opportunity to interview an educator, a scholar, a historian, legendary hip hop artist, wise, intelligent, from poor righteous teachers. Check out this interview. Here we go. Welcome to the Classroom Hip Hop 101 with your host, Dr. Blizzy. We are sitting here with the hip hop legend, wise, intelligent, President, CEO of Rap Snack Foundation, Boss Up, artist, activist, social entrepreneur, and the last part of it, which I like most importantly, problem solver. So just a quick information about Brother Wise, if you don't know. He's an internationally known artist, activist, songwriter, producer, and a frontman of the critically acclaimed legendary hip-hop trio known to the world as Poor Righteous Teachers. He's a pioneer of conscious rap music, PRT from Trenton, New Jersey, and throughout his career, Wise Intelligence has released a total of 12 studio albums and has collaborated and performed with world-renowned artists such as Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, The Fugees, Mos Def, Public Enemy, KRS-One, Ice Cube, Too Short, X-Clan, Junior Reed, Miss Jones, and many others. So I'd like to just start by saying welcome, brother, to the Classroom Hip Hop 101. And as I said to you earlier, thank you for taking time to join us for a quick interview about some of the things that you're doing.
Thank you, Dr. Blizzy.
Yeah, what I wanted to jump right into is this book, 3/5 in MC. The Manufacturing of a Dumb Down Rapper. If you could just kind of give us an overview of what inspired you to write such a book, specifically addressing this thing. I just thought it was interesting that you connected the 3/5 of an MC, which to me says that there's some historical lens that you're addressing, and then the present day dumbed down rapper, which many people don't even recognize that that's a thing that exists.
Right. But, the operative word in the title is manufacturing. Whenever we're talking about manufacturing and assembling, with, it's a factory, so it's machinery. So we're talking about the social machinery and those who control the social machinery for mass public opinion manipulation, so the controllers of that space, they dictate what picture of reality we get, so if it's a fragmented picture, that's what we're going to get. And so they've chosen to promote, propagate, and market a particular brand of hip hop content, a single narrative, a dangerous single narrative that doesn't tell the whole hip hop story, not even a fraction of the hip hop story, so what we're getting is a circumstance where any voices within the space that address the broader issues of social justice, they're kind of marginalized, in the space. So artists realizing this, they accept the 3/5 compromise, and they dehumanize themselves for the thought or the prospect of receiving a record deal or radio play or whatever. So what we find is not just in hip hop. It's not just in hip hop. So that's the thing about the book. If any book should not be judged by its cover, it's this one. Because it's not just about hip hop and rappers. Because Black politicians are in the same paradigm. They're in the same position. Black school teachers are in the same position. Black university professors, Black university administrators are in the same position, where they feel like there's a certain fear around speaking truth to power. There's a certain fear around addressing the history, experience, epistemology, struggles, triumphs of Black people in this country, because In doing so, we by default implicate the white power structure. So we shy away from that conversation a lot. So when we do that, for some it's tactical. For some it's tactical. It's some even consider it strategy. To sort of silence yourself or self censor. But we can't afford to self censor. In the rapper's case, it's marginalizing yourself to the point where you're dumbing yourself down to a party and bullshit kind of narrative, that excludes the broader issues of social justice, which make up the lion's share of your existence in the United States. You're a black person, a black human being in an anti-black power structure. So so your entire life on every level of existence is impacted by the racism of this power structure. So
I just wanted to say that what you're saying resonates with me so much, right? As an educator, and I want to get into this a little bit. I'm known as the nation's hip hop principal because when I was a school principal, I actually used hip hop to take a school that was, by all indicators, would be considered a low performing, underachieving school, and we made it number one in reading and math. And we used hip hop as the formula to engage young people, bring student voice, teach them to be critical thinkers. And we went from like the school that nobody in the community wanted to go to the most sought after school in that area. And it's interesting that you said that it's not just hip hop, right? The 3/5 paradigm, but that it transcends into other arenas. So in my situation, it was education. And I think that when you begin to make our students competitive and you begin to address and elevate their level of consciousness, as you said, you come into direct conflict with the white power structure. But I think also the white power structure then makes examples of people who do that, which then reinforces the fear, right? So, we know the history of taking the strongest slave and make an example of that slave and then making the whole village watch. And some say that the chemistry of a mother's milk, the baby will be nursing on fear for what the mother has seen. So when I listen to what you're saying, I was made an example. So my result was they kicked me out the system. So what that did was that reinforced to all those other educators. You see what he's doing? You see what he was doing with his school? You see how he was bringing black educators together? If you do that, you will meet that. But again, you're right. We do have to push past that fear for the greater good of our children. What are some of the suggestions that you would give to artists or anybody for that matter in terms of really dealing with that, and I'm going to put it on a base level. These are the conversations I've had. Oh, if I stand up and start really teaching the children the way I know they should be taught, I'm going to lose my pension. Oh, if I stand up and really start educating, I'm going to be out of a career. How do you address that in terms of those people who walk with the constant fear of how the white power structure will respond to them?
Right. It's interesting that you say that because in the book, my example is an interview with Lloyd Banks from G Unit, where he's I think it was allhiphop.com interview where they asked him about getting political. And he said, that's career suicide. He said, I'm not doing that. He said, black people getting assassinated. Why? He said, I'm just trying to feed my family. So I'm not getting political because we have a history of being assassinated for addressing these things. So yes, the reinforcement, that he's an example of what the history has done to a lot of us. So we see it as tactical and strategic to continue to be able to feed our families in some cases. But what I suggest in this reality is in the book, the final chapter is called "And Party and Build Shit." party and build shit, as opposed to party and bullshit. You know, so and what I'm suggesting is that the reason that we're in this paradigm is because we don't control the internal markets in our own communities. You know, and by not controlling the internal markets and the life-sustaining institutions in the community, we are unable to provide the livelihood and the careers and jobs that for our people that we need. So we end up having to go to others for life self-sustenance, to engage their life-sustaining institutions like schools, for example. They control them. So like banks, they control them. So this puts us in a position where the power structure again is manufacturing the self-imposed three-fifths. So because we don't control the economy in our communities. Now you think about it. I work in the not-for-profit space, a lot, and our communities are considered under-resourced communities. You come from an under-resourced community and underserved community. Okay, it's my belief that the community is not under-resourced. The community is over-extracted. So we have resources. We have lots. We have ample resources. We have $1.2 trillion in collective buying power. That's monetary resource that if we were a nation, we would rank between 9 and 15, in the world, in terms of wealth, that kind of buying power. However, we don't control any of the retail outlets. We don't control or manufacture any of the products that we're consuming with that $1.2 trillion. So it's leaving the community at the point of purchase. As soon as we spend it on things that we need, the money is leaving the community because the things that we need, we don't produce. Neither do we retail, neither do we distribute, we don't manufacture. So we're in this paradigm. And then we have cultural resources. Hip hop. Hip hop is the perfect example of a cultural resource that was extracted from the community at the moment that it was created, almost the moment it was conceived. You look at hip hop, hip hop was rejected by the community itself. Our elders were saying it wasn't music.
Oh my goodness. I remember my father telling him, turn that noise off. I said, Dad, you don't understand how powerful this is.
Right.
He had to grow into that.
Exactly. You're going to break my stereo. You're going to tearing up me, scratching my records. Literally scratching my records. You know what I mean?
Literally.
So hip hop was viewed, ominously, as opposed to being embraced. So what happened was other people came from outside the community and set up trading posts for hip hop and mechanisms of monetization for the culture. So they said, okay, y'all want to spin the records back? We can create a turntable that can spin the record back for you. You want to get that sample space? Okay, you're spinning the record back on the break. You got about 2 to 4 seconds of clean record. You spin it back. How about we create this sampling device that can help you do that exactly the way you want to do it, And so they started building economy around our cultural resource.
It's interesting because it's like, when we think about our great leaders, whether it's been Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, any of these individuals, they have paid the price, done the work. But often what ends up happening is that the people that gain economic benefit for the sacrifices that they made are people, because we talk about this in educational circles, are people who don't look like us. So Dr. Martin Luther King paid the ultimate price of his life, but it'll be a white scholar that does the research, writes the book, and then gets the economic benefit to the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? Absolutely. And so it goes to your point of not having these economic, and I really wanted to drill down on that, the whole concept of economics, because I think that that's a place where we have, as educators, we haven't tapped into in terms of connecting the dots between academic achievement and economic development. And I think that once our students see the economic benefit and are taught economics, they will value the education that they're receiving. Right now, they're receiving a miseducation. I was looking at your I think it's Wild Seed Films, and Intelligent Seeds, this youth media organization, right? And it reminded me of the work that we did years ago, where we were teaching students how to make and market their own videos and DVDs, deal with production. And we know what we did, brother? We enfolded it into the curriculum. So if I'm in math, right, and I'm like, okay, so you're part of the budget team for this production company that we've developed school-wide. What are you going to do? You're going to figure out how we're going to produce a quality budget without going over cost. What is the price point we're going to set for at the time the DVD? And how are we going to make sure that we can mass distribute this and recoup a profit? So now you're dealing with graphs, charts, data analysis, all the things that they're expected to learn in their math class, but no one is connected the dot between what it is that they're learning in school and how they can make it useful. And then you added an additional component that really deals with community development and social awareness.
Absolutely. That's what it's about at the end of the day. You're definitely on point. The economic component, we end up going to school, we go to secondary education, we graduate with a degree, and then we end up working for someone else, not even really understanding the space that we just got the degree in. So we can't capitalize on the opportunities that come in that space, the verticals in that space, doctors, nurses, athletes. We graduate, we go into these professional systems, and we don't understand how to monetize the skill set that we just acquired. If I'm a surgeon, if I'm a doctor, or if I'm a nurse, and I go into this hospital after I graduate and I'm working in this hospital, I'm looking at how to sell stethoscopes. I'm looking at the whole industry. I'm looking at scrubs and how to create a scrub line of clothing for hospitals, PPE. Look at the disaster they had with the pandemic, with no mask and things of that nature. When I come into that space, I need to know that these are opportunities. Everything around me is an economic opportunity. And economics basically underpins society. So controlling the economics in your community is very important. That's why the genius is extracted from the community. The cultural resource is extracted from the community. The buying power is extracted from the community. The athleticism is extracted from the community. 80% of NFL and NBA are Black athletes, but we control less than 1% of the receipts in that space. So that's where we are. It's like all the rappers were going to sign deals with white-owned companies.
So how do you so with the Rap Snacks Foundation and the non-for-profit side of it, the boss up aspect, with this whole concept of economic development, how do you guys address this?
We develop and implement various financial literacy entrepreneurship programs on HBCU campuses and in the community, as well as with high schools and some middle. Programs like Innovation Cafe. The Innovation Cafe is an actual cafe that's built out on college campus, and the participants in the program not only learn how to run a cafe franchise, but they also develop products that are sold in the cafe. Coffee, so they source the coffee. They learn to create the flavor profiles for the coffee, the juices, the bottled beverages.
You're doing this on the middle school and college.
We're doing this with Innovation Cafe. Is a college and high school platform. Then we have Stock Boss Up. Stock Boss Up is an app that's available at the Google Store, Apple Store, and Google Play. It's a non-subscription based free social media investment app that teaches you how to invest in the stock market. So it's like, if you can imagine, Instagram meets Robinhood, so those two platforms combined. So you go on the platform, you create a profile just like Instagram, You gain followers just like you would on Instagram. You can like, comment, you can post, you can share, you can follow people. The thing is, the learning comes in where it's the algorithm, the way that we have the algorithm written is the top performing portfolios trend to the top of your feed. So you can see what's working in the marketplace for the top performers in the platform. So if you want to cut and paste their portfolio into your portfolio, then you're winning immediately because it's only the top performers at the top of that feed. So it's a simulated platform that follows the stock market in real time. So you get $1 million worth of simulated money once you join the platform, and you get to invest it in real time in the market, and you can sharpen your skills. We have a guide throughout the platform. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Investing in the Stock Market, and you just follow the guide. And as you go and you complete levels, you get badges, to show you that you're making progress. You can create groups.
Wow.
If you're a school, you can create groups to where classes could have their own group, and you can compete within your group. And the algorithm will trend the top performers in your group to the top, just like it does the overall platform. So we have a competition in that space called Stock Madness that we're doing. It kind of follows the March Madness program, boils down to a Final Four with stock portfolios.
So let me say, I'm really excited about what you're talking about for a number of reasons. So one of the other hats that I have is I told you the system got rid of me, but my story didn't end there, and I think that's also how you also address the fear. People think that this. First of all, we sometimes make the system this big giant thing that can't be conquered, and no. We have the power, just like we have the power. We brought hip hop out of nothing. We created something. Those creative juices and energy still exist. But I say that to say that I'm the president of a Black organization called Black Influencers United. Our mission is we serve Black children. We influence others. We serve Black educators. We influence others, and we impact Black children. We're focused, and our major focus is, for the first time, it's an educational organization that is also dealing with politics and economics. We are about asserting all of these talented Black educators, making them push past their fear, develop a collective voice on behalf of Black children. Because as you know, when they talk about the achievement gap, or they talk about the inordinate suspension of Black boys from school, or referral to special education, or lack of gifted and talented programs in Black and brown communities, they very rarely talk to the Black educators who come from the community, who have had the same kind of experiencing the same kind of trauma that our children have faced, but yet they're in those schools working with those children and are a powerful voice. So we are asserting ourselves to be that voice. The reason why I bring that up is that there's been a lot of conversation now that we're dealing with, this pandemic, that even though you talk about the stock market, they'll tell you in a minute that in the midst of a crisis, an economic crisis, there's also opportunity. And although we realize that many of our families and our communities have experienced loss, in whether it's physical, jobs, economic, whatever, but in that is also an opportunity. And for us as educators, it's an opportunity for us to reimagine how we teach and how students learn. And so when you talk about the stock market, and you talk about the programs that you have both on college campuses and with high school students, you're talking about an opportunity now to just break down the walls of the school. I mean, I'm just thinking using social or remote learning platforms to get students to log on, because there's a real challenge of students logging on because they're not logging on to the traditional curriculum. But I think they're not logging on because the curriculum is not an engaging curriculum that is teaching something that's meaningful to them. See, I like to say, brother, that love. We got to work together because I would love to get your program in front of these educators, and even on a middle school level where there's a major issue on a middle school level, to begin to bring programs like yours into the space, because that's what's going to make students log on. We have a real economic reality in our community, but I digress. What I really want to ask you is a couple of things centered around education. This dumbed down rapper, and you kind of touched on it a bit when you talked about you could see it in every profession, every field. But I wanted to kind of, it was almost like a chicken or an egg kind of question. Is it that the school system dumbed down the students, which then produced a dumbed down rapper? Or did the industry create this dumbing down, like you had kind of explained with the Lloyd Banks piece of rappers really not showing their intelligence? And the reason I bring that up is that there's a lot of things that were in school that taught critical thinking skills that were removed. And I really feel like there is sort of like a correlation between the declining literacy rates in school and then what we're seeing manifested in the music that we see today.
Oh, well, the system was the first dumbing down. The school systems were the first factories.
Yes.
To manufacture dumbed down individuals, because the curriculum itself it falsifies the consciousness of African people. You come out on the other end with a falsification of consciousness, because the entire curriculum is Eurocentric. It's centered in European history, culture, folklore, concepts, and imagination. So by default, you come out on the other end of that system if you're Black with a certain degree of anti-Africanism. You have some anti-African behavior, you have some self-hatred, when you come out of the end of that system. And if you're white and you come out on the other side of that system, you come out empowered, emboldened, confident, self-esteem on fleek, so yes, it dumbs us down by default, the school system. That's what it do. But when we had a situation where when they did the research in the 1960s, late 1960s, on the Black community, said that the high school dropouts had a higher IQ, a higher mean IQ, and they were more politically astute and conscious than their peers who didn't drop out. So the children who dropped out of school had a higher political orientation than the ones who did. So the ones who dropped out of school became the ones who would push back a lot against the system. They would be the ones leading movements on the ground that would then come in, be organized by the system and taken over. But but the reality is we've been dealing with this dumbing down at the school system from the very beginning. That's what the point of the schools was to basically, create this paradigm where our consciousness was falsified.
A good friend of mine always says, the system is not broke, it's in rotation. It's doing what, shout out to my man, George Patterson, but it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Exactly what it's supposed to do.
Dr. Adelaide Sanford is a legend in educational circles. And she had said this, she had made this statement, how do we go? She said, we need to have our children examine how we went from the pyramids to the projects. And one of the things that she said, in that spirit, I wanted to ask you this. So you came up in an era and led really the era to me of conscious rap, right? You poor righteous teachers, and it was interesting because I was thinking about that today. Like, you guys were so unique in the sense that you had this uncanny way of educating us, but making us feel like we were at a party at the same time. The only other person I kind of saw do that was like Lauryn Hill with the doo-wop song. But I think about Rock This Funky Joint. I was dancing to that song, and when I'm dancing to that song, I'm listening to everything that's being said. So it was like I always say it's like the proverbial slipping the aspirin into the spaghetti. You like, oh, I'm at a party, and but then you dropping all this knowledge. How do we go from wise intelligence, KRS-One, right? Like knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. These were the names of our artists. And this is not a disrespect to anybody, but to names like Pop Smoke. Or how do we go from, Ladies First to WAP? Like, how do we go from the pyramids to the projects in hip hop?
It's one of those things. I mean, here's my position on that whole paradigm. For me, hip hop hasn't changed. For me, hip hop hasn't changed. It's still exactly how it was culturally in the beginning. For me, and that's because the mainstream doesn't dictate for me what hip hop is or what it do. So if I'm looking at the mainstream and I say, okay,
I wouldn't even call that hip hop.
Right. So exactly. So if we're looking at the mainstream and we're saying, okay, Ladies First was being played in mainstream, and now we have WAP being played in the mainstream. That's not something we control. That's something that the power structure controls, right? That's something that those who control the social machinery for mass opinion manipulation in music, they control that. So they have a program director. They have a program director. So they don't call it a program for nothing. We're being programmed. So they're choosing what goes into the program and what doesn't go into the program. So when you go back to when Ladies First was being played, at the same time that you had Poor Righteous Teachers, you had Ice Cube, Too Short, you had NWA, we were we were all on tour together. It was Poor Righteous Teachers, Ice Cube, Too Short, D Nice, Yo Yo. We're all on the same tour. Yo Yo was talking about AK-47 assault rifle. And at the same time that Latifah was saying Ladies First and UNITY.
So it was a diversity of artistic expression.
Exactly. So now you had a balanced playlist. You had a balanced playlist, and the power structure decided to go with a single narrative, a particular brand of hip hop content that excluded all content that addressed the broader issues of social justice, Black interests, Black history, heritage, epistemology, our interpretation of the world and our justified beliefs about it. They excluded all that and said, no, all we want is sex, money, murder, party, and bullshit. That's it. So artists said, hey, that's what I got to do, because that's what all we started seeing. So you start seeing that. It's like, for example, when I was coming up as a kid in a community who wanted to be an MC, I could see Public Enemy in the platform. At the same time that Public Enemy was in the platform, so was Schoolie D. Schoolie D was a whole gangster out of Philadelphia.
Yes.
He was the first. He was one of the first gangsters on wax. At the same time. So Ice-T. Back then, Ice-T had the record Killers. People remember Colors, but do they remember Killers? Killers. That was an Ice-T record at that time, that same time that Public Enemy was running. So
I remember what is that? That's How I'm Living.
That's how exactly. So it was just it was a certain kind of balance, there. So, like for example, Cardi B always existed in the community. Nicki Minaj always existed in the community. But so did Lauryn Hill and so did Latifah. There's a gangster in the community, but there's also a college student in the community. There's also an Afrocentric movement in the community. There's also a Hebrew Israelite and an Islamic movement going on in the community. But we don't get to hear none of these ideas anymore. So a youth don't get to see themselves in the platform all the time. So back then you could see the platform, you could say, okay, I resonate with this lifestyle and attitude, but not so much this. I could nod my head and rock with this for the sake of hip hop. It's dope, it's hip hop, but this reflects me more. But now the youth coming up, all they see is these ideas, this one single narrative, dangerous single narrative. So they're emulating that, even the youth who don't really resonate with it at their core. So
You're right.
it's problematic.
I agree 1,000% that danger of a single story is real. I'm gonna close out on this. Gotta put you on this spot, bro. You can't give me the political answer on this one. So you have a wide, and you didn't give me any political answers anyway, so I don't expect you to give me one now, but you have you've been in so many different eras, and your work with young people in terms of touching base with them, helping them deal with investigative journalism and all these different things. I know it keeps you close to what's happening in hip hop or what's happening within our culture now. So when I ask this question, any era, I gotta ask you the proverbial, who is Wise Intelligence top 5 MCs?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's easy for me.
Okay.
My top 5 straddle almost the same period of time. Okay. That would be Chuck D, Public Enemy, Rakim, KRS-One, Brother J, X-Clan, and Lauryn Hill. Those are my 5.
Listen, you didn't even hesitate.
Nah,
that's a great era. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That is when you talk about diversity, that era right there is what you just said. It was so rich and diverse. So in terms of your movement, what you're doing with Rap Snacks and your work with schools, how can people plug in and tap into you, specifically the educators that are going to be listening to this interview? How can they get in touch with you? And maybe they might want to bring your curriculum or your program to their school. How do they reach you?
For sure. Well, I could be reached on social media platforms, Wise Intelligent, at Wise Intelligent. That's Instagram, Twitter. You can message me there, or you can get at me at therapsnacksfoundation.org, info@therapsnacksfoundation.org. I'll get those emails. They'll be forwarded to me if it addresses me. Or you can reach me at the Rap Snacks Foundation, or at Rap Snacks FDN on Instagram, at Rap Snacks FDN. That's the foundation's Instagram page. So yeah, that's how you can get at me. I'm always I'm everywhere everybody is, but I'm nowhere at the same time. Everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But absolutely, just hit me on social media. That's the fastest way to reach me. Just shoot me a DM. But again, you can go to therapsnacksfoundation.org and find out how to get involved.
And the name of the book is 3/5 and MCThe Manufacturing of a Dumbed Down Rapper by Wise Intelligence. Brother, I want to thank you for taking time to share this with us. I want to make sure that this gets out to as many educators as possible, because I think we have to connect the dots between our educators and our artist community. I think we have work to do in a collective and collaborative manner.
Absolutely. That's the aim of the Rap Snacks Foundation, to triangulate the culture, the academics, and the entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much.
Wow. That interview with Wise Intelligent was simply amazing. Please get with him, support his movement, find out how you can get involved, because we have to bring the educators and the hip hop artists together to collaborate to solve some of the problems in our community. Thank you, Brother Wise Intelligent. We look forward to connecting with you and doing some work together. Now, we just had the launch of Black Influencers United, the birth of a movement, BU. And it was phenomenal. We close out with a performance from my daughter, Naja Blake, in support of
the birth of a movement.
My name is Naja Blake. I'm a senior at Repertory Company High School for Theater Arts. Just want to say shout out to Black Influencers United and to my dad, Dr. Blake, on your launch. I'm really glad that this work is being done. You know, this rich racist system that is America has placed us at a disadvantage for far too long, and it's really about time that we started doing for ourselves. What's being done is not easy, especially when just about every odd is placed against you because of your skin color. But I just want to say, you know, stay strong and stay black. Here's a little song for you all.
Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Just hold on tight and you will last. Keep yourself in respect, your manly pride. Get yourself in gear, keep the stride. Never mind your fear, 'cause brighter days will soon be here. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free.
Some days are hard because we feel like our fighting has no purpose. Okay, one down, billions to go. So many of us feel worthless. My beautiful black family, I know our fight has been forever. But the reason we haven't stopped is in our blood. We're treasures. As kindred spirits to this earth, this world belongs to us. So let's just focus on each other and how to unify our community. Because the day we're free is something we'll all have to live to see. You and me, whether we're past and give life to the trees among the stars, are still inhabitants of this earth. Let's keep striving so once we become ancestors, our people will never forget their worth.
Keep on walking tall, hold your head up high, and lay your dreams right up to the sky. Sing your greatest song, and you keep going on. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Hey, just wait and see, someday we'll all be free. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Hey, take we will all be free. We will all be free.